Yeah. Pro Fan Sports Podcast. Let's get it. Pro fans, tune into the program. Every single week, get the dope, fam. Sean on the mic, very flat too. Keep you updated, that's what we do. Pro fans, tune into the program. Pro fans, tune into the program. Pro fans, tune into the program. Every single week, get the dope, fam.
Yo, what it do, everybody? It's your boy John Altidor with Pro Fan Sports Podcast. Back at you again with my boy Vlad and Barry. What it is, fellas?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 10.
Hey, what's up, fellas? What's happening, everybody? Episode 10, baby. Let's get it. Let's
Episode
get to it.
10, baby. We rocking, man.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah. First off, before we go, how y'all feeling? Y'all feeling good?
I'm good.
Yep.
Doing all right, hanging in there. You know that allergies are starting to kick my ass since it's allergy season.
Word. Yeah, man, before we start, just a reminder, we're trying to do an email section. Every week, we're trying to get some emails from our listeners. So if you want some questions to be answered on the show, please email us at profansports1@gmail.com. Again, the email is profansports1@gmail.com. And you can also catch us on social media on all platforms, right? We're on Instagram, profans_sports, Twitter, profansports, Facebook, profansports, YouTube. Just search profansports. And with the YouTube...
Actually, John, we got an update. So the YouTube, you can just do YouTube/profansports.
Ooh, hey, okay.
That was actually the next thing I was
okay.
going to say. We're actually official.
Yes, we are.
Shout outs to everybody that subscribed to the channel. We're now an official channel, man.
Yes,
So check
I
us
know.
out.
Big shout out to
Big
them,
shout
yo.
out. YouTube.com/profansports. We out here.
Yes.
We're doing things.
Word.
Just a reminder, we drop every Tuesday morning on all major platforms. We're on 12 different platforms right now.
Wow.
And if you follow us on
That's
social
crazy.
media, if you follow us on social media, you'll see all the platforms that you can get it on. But, some of the most popular ones, of course, is Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and we're on a lot of things, man. YouTube, SoundCloud, whatever you want, whatever you're comfortable with, we got it. We also got video for you, like we said on the YouTube, and those drop every morning at 8 a.m.
On Wednesday.
Wednesday. Just check us out. Keep subscribing. Our new goal is 150. Try to get 150
Yo,
this month.
150. Let's go.
Let's get it. And also, before we start, just want to say rest in peace to legendary coach, former Jazz coach, Jerry Sloan, man. He passed away this week. So condolences to him, to his family, to anybody that is around him, his loved ones. He's a legendary coach, so rest in peace to him.
Yes, another legendary coach passed away last night, actually, as well as college basketball coach Eddie Sutton, who coached for 37 years in college basketball. He had coached Oklahoma State, Marcus Smart's alma mater. He did coach Marcus Smart, I believe. So also want to condolences to him and his family. Prayers go out to them as well.
Facts, man. And also, we want to say some prayers for Patrick Ewing, too, man. He actually contracted the coronavirus. And,
oh, man. Oh, no.
The virus is not the best for people that are a little older. So, and we know those guys are getting up there, man. So, prayers out to him. I'm sure he's going to be all right because he's a big, strong guy. So, just keep them in your prayers, man. He's also from Cambridge. Patrick Ewing, man.
Right.
Yeah,
he is. He's a local guy.
He played at my high school, Cambridge and Latin. Shout out to CRLS.
Right.
Let's
sure
get it.
Did, yeah.
Right, man. Also, I wanted to let you guys know what's going to be on the show. We're going to be covering the NFL, some rules that are going on, onside kicks, some people that have signed up. Of course, it won't be the NFL if we don't discuss some things about Tom Brady, so we'll cover some of that stuff and some of the stuff he got going on. We'll update you on the new Rooney Rule, and then we're going to go on to the NBA talking about our thoughts on The Last Dance, man. It's now over, so let's talk about it a little bit. And, news around the NBA coming back, some outrageous stuff going on with Paul Peirce. We'll cover that. Some maybe trade proposal, but that's what we're going to cover for the week, so thank you for listening. I'm going to thank you now before we even start, so let's get it, fellas. You guys know what's going on with the NFL. Onside kick. Vlad, let us know what's up with that.
So the Philadelphia Eagles has proposed, instead of an onside kick, the team with the ball will be, instead of trying an onside kick, they will do a 4th and 15 on their own 25. If they get the 4th and 15, they keep the ball. If they don't get it, they obviously turn the ball over to the other team.
That's crazy. What are your thoughts on that, first of all, Vlad?
I think it's interesting. Actually, it's better. It's different from the onside kick, because the onside kick, most of the time it doesn't get through. Most of the time the kickers are not skilled enough to kick it to get past 10 yards for before the other team touch it, or before the team that's kicking touches it. I feel as though it's 1 out of 10 kicks that ever be successful, or even more than that, maybe 1 out of every 100 kicks. So it's usually something that you can predict that's not going to work. The 4th and 15, there's more opportunity for the other team to get it. So that's going to make it a little bit easier, but it's also going to make it a little bit more interesting. So I feel as though it's good for the fans because it's going to keep us interested, because usually when it's on the onside kick, you're like, what are the chances that the other team will get it? But a 4 and 15, that's something that's even more, there's more possibility of the other team getting that. So it'll be interesting. I mean, even if they don't pass it, I'll be okay. But if they do pass it, I'll be down with it. It'll be interesting. They also tried it at the last Pro Bowl, the NFC, not the NFC, but
it was the NFC actually that tried it. That's
Was
why I
it
was
the
reading
NFC?
up on that.
Wait, you guys watched the Pro Bowl?
No, I was just reading up on an article about the rule that they mentioned that the NFC tried it in the Pro Bowl last year. But no, I definitely don't watch the Pro Bowl. I don't think there's very many people out there that do. Yeah, the Pro Bowl to me is useless and a waste of time.
Vlad, you watch the Pro Bowl?
I do watch the Pro Bowl, and I'm proud of that.
Holy shit.
Really, dude? You serious? Wow. Wow. Okay. I'm not gonna hate.
It's a game. It's a
right.
Barely, but all right. Yeah.
I have no issues watching the Pro Bowl. To me, it's another Sunday that there's no other football games on.
That's
the guys
fact.
can be silly. Sometimes the game is not interesting, but I watch it. I like seeing the players play. I don't care.
But they don't really play.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah,
They don't. It's not real football. It feels to me it's...
Obviously, it's not football. We all know that. There's no discussion. We don't need to discuss if it's real football or not. I just enjoy watching it no matter what.
Yeah, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I hear you, man.
Listen, I used to watch it every now and then, but when it used to be like a lot more fun back in the days of like Chad Johnson, Steve Smith, and dude from Heinz Ward, you know what I mean? When they had those crazy skills competitions, you know what I mean? Like the top guys against the top guys. Those were really fun. I don't know about the new formats, and I don't know. It's just weird.
As long as it's fun and I don't have anything specific that I'm doing,
That's fair.
I'm gonna be watching it. But they tried it in the Pro Bowl last year, and the NFC had the ball, and they elected to try the 4th and 15, which they did not convert. So the AFC ended up getting the ball. So, and it was interesting. It was like, hey, is this gonna happen? Is it not gonna happen? I kind of like it because it gives the team more options, what they could possibly do to get the ball back. So if they do pass it, I'll be down for it.
Okay, very.
I like the rule. I think it's interesting and exciting to add to the league and add to the game. I think it's good in terms of teams that are trailing in behind, or if you're in a game where it's going to a high scoring game in a shootout, and if you're facing like a Patrick Mahomes or a team that can put up a lot of points up the board, it's certainly a risk that you're taking doing that, but it may be worth it if you can convert it, because then if you do convert it, you're keeping the ball out of the Patrick Mahomes or the other offense that is opposing to you off the field for even longer. But I mean, obviously, if you don't get it, then it's like you're pretty much giving up points right there, since they're gonna have a short field and almost pretty much, at least scored 3, if not 7 on the opposing end. So, but it's certainly worth doing because the onside kick wasn't really working out. I was reading up on, the article of the, rule change, and they were saying that it was less than or about 10% of onside kicks that have been recovered in the last couple years. I really said that due to, the new rules of the onside kick that they changed recently that has lowered the effectiveness of the kick actually being successful. So, due to that, I feel probably is the right time to do away with the onside kick and try something new and try something different and try something that's going to bring more excitement to the game, because I hate those games where it's like the 4th quarter and the other team has like a big lead and it's pretty much they build the clock or they pretty much already know gonna win at that point of the game. So it definitely at least keeps the fan, everyone locked in, and makes it a 60-minute game, and it gives at least the team a chance to come back and at least have an opportunity to get back into the game. So I hope that this league, this rule, gets approved. If it does, that would be good. If it doesn't, I mean, it also would be good. I'm cool with it either way, like Vlad said. So we'll see what happens and how it goes, and if the owners vote for it. I believe they have to be at least 24 of the 32 owners that do have to vote for this rule, for it to be an official rule change that can be implemented. We'll see what happens, but it'll be nice to see something new and something different added to the game that can make it a lot more entertaining, intriguing, for us to watch.
Yeah, I don't know how often we're gonna actually see that. So when I hear about the rule, I mean, I like that the NFL is doing different things, trying different things to make the game more exciting. I think they're the one league that like has changes every single year. It's like clockwork with this league, man. It's like every year there's something different, something you got to get used to, some controversy about some kind of call. When I hear about this rule, I think about like scenarios, like what scenarios would we really want to use that in where we actually gamble on actually giving the other team the ball at our only 5. To me, that's what I think about. Like what kind of game, what type of game would you have to be in to actually use that? Right, so I'm thinking games like maybe like the Super Bowl, the AFC championships, like playoffs, what I'm saying, where it's like, it's the last straw. There's nothing left to lose other than actually losing the game. So I think about like scenarios of when they would actually utilize that kind of situation, maybe in a game where you're getting like blown out, to see if you can actually do it. You know what I'm saying? So I can see somebody like a Bill Belichick, like, where it's 42-7, we're down. He turns it into a situational lesson for his teams. So if you're watching the game, you'll notice Bill Belichick does a lot of weird, quirky things that he just tries. Kick they did with Doug Flutie and stuff like that.
Right.
Having the linebackers going on offense and catching balls and stuff. So
Right.
he's unorthodox like that.
Roberts,
So
right.
yeah, Landon Roberts at fullback and him taking that freaking. Then he scored like a 52-yard touchdown or something like that.
Yeah, it was against
crazy.
Miami.
That was
It was
crazy.
actually reception. He caught it and
Yes.
ran it all the way for a touchdown. That was awesome. I remember that play.
Right. So I'm thinking which teams are actually going to be bold enough to gamble and which coaches actually have enough like ammo like in their chest like to actually be able to use this and not like get reprimanded by the owner or something like what the hell were you thinking, type of thing. So I think it's interesting for sure. I don't know what it looks like until we get there. I don't think 4th and 15 is not the easiest thing to complete in the NFL. So there's very few quarterbacks I would actually trust to complete a 4th and 15. I'm thinking about like a Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes. That's the only people I've seen that done that like on somewhat a consistent basis. So that it's an interesting rule, and we'll see if any team has the balls to use it, right?
I think teams will use it.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm sure teams will use it.
I think toward the end of the season when you're trying to get your
secure spot
in the playoff. If you're down in the game and all you have to do is get the ball back to score, you're gonna try it. I feel as though in the beginning of the year, teams are not gonna try it as much because they're gonna be afraid of losing the game. But when you come down to closer to the playoff and in the playoffs, and that's your last chance, your last opportunity to win the game, I think teams will try it.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, man, Bill Belichick might actually try it in the preseason. We see him do that a lot. Where he just like, that's why, a lot of times he loses those games because he's out there experimenting, which, that's what you're supposed to do. Use this time, since the scores don't matter, records don't matter, to see what works and what doesn't. So I'll be excited to see it, for sure. I'll see who, because we're going to have the stats, what I'm saying? He's actually like 90% on those types of situations, what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So that's going to be another stat that they're going to be throwing at us.
Right. And another interesting thing about this particular rule, actually going to what you said before I go into the thing about the rule is that I can see, Bill Belichick, particularly in his coaching style and him being willing to take risk at times and take, gambles and chances during the game. I could definitely see him as being one of the first coaches to actually use that rule. I think there's a few other coaches' mind that I could see doing that. Reed, he is able to do it due to the offense.
Sean Payton.
For sure, Sean Payton could definitely do that. That's another quarterback, Drew Brees, that I think could have a good chance of completing it. I think also, Pete Carroll could, with Russell Wilson,
for sure.
Could definitely be able to
Aaron
convert
Rodgers.
this. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Can't forget about A-Rod, about that bad man. Exactly. So he's certainly capable of converting it as well. So there definitely are a few teams out there that are, as well. Obviously, it's Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Are all definitely could actually, convert this kind of play at a high percentage. But this play could actually be only used twice per game. So you can, that's why I was just reading up on that. So they're saying you can't use it more than 2 times. That pretty much you just have 2 chances to be able to, use a work in a 15 play per game, and that's it. So I kind of am a little bit surprised about that. I hope they. I know it is kind of weird. Maybe they'll tweak that a little bit when they discuss that during the owners meeting coming up. But as of right now, that's how that rule is. So it'll certainly bring another element to the game, and will help those people like us and fans that watch the games every Sunday. It'll help them not to lose interest and not to give up and be like, oh man, why should I keep watching? It's the 4th quarter. I already know who's gonna win. The team already has a good lead, and I just pretty much got this game in the bag already. Why should I watch anymore? What's the point? So it'll at least keep everybody locked in, knowing that there's a chance for a team to come back by this rule if it does get approved. But I thought that was a catch to that rule is that it can only twice per game. So we'll see if they actually do tweak that or if they keep that as is.
Yeah, no, I didn't know about that part of the rule. That's very interesting. That's really something to think about. But I think we've all just given our thoughts on what we thought about that. It's an interesting rule, and we'll see how it goes moving forward. Other than that, in the NFL, Joe Flacco was signed by the New York Jets this week, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Joe Flacco got signed.
Joe Flacco got a deal.
Right. Joe Flacco got a deal. Cam Newton's still at home.
Right, facts, exactly.
Yeah, funny.
Crazy,
But
and it's hilarious.
yeah, Joe Flacco was coming from the Denver Broncos, where Drew Lock is now the starting quarterback.
That's right.
You know, they're going to go all in. They don't want nobody, to threaten him and for him to feel comfortable. So now, Joe Flacco, I am assuming, is coming to back what's his name?
Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold. I was going to say Aaron Donald. That's the guy from the Rams.
He's a defensive tackle, exactly.
What do you think about that, Vlad?
I don't have a problem with the Jets signing Joe Flacco. I just have a problem with Cam Newton being out, Colin Kaepernick, not being signed.
God.
Joe Flacco.
He said it.
Joe Flacco sucks, and as a Patriots fan, I think I have this hate feeling toward Joe Flacco because he's never been that good, but he's beaten the Patriots more time than he should have, and he won a Super Bowl by going through the Patriots, which I never liked. And he's like a one-hit wonder. You know what I mean? Like, he came in, he had a good year, he had a good postseason, and won a Super Bowl. I mean, the Jets needed a backup, so I think they bought a backup, which is good. But I don't think he's gonna start or anything like that. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But I also think that I'm shocked about not Colin Kaepernick because of all that happened, but especially Cam Newton. I'm shocked about Cam Newton still being out there.
Mm-hmm. Very.
Yeah, I mean, it's laughable to me. That's why I'm laughing right now, because they pretty much signed a guy who I think is pretty much at this point of his career washed up and done in absolute hot, stinking garbage. Like, you straight trash. Like, this dude shouldn't even be a backup on an NFL roster. I don't know if y'all saw him play in Denver, but the dude was a freaking joke. Like, he was god awful, atrocious. Like, this I don't know how this guy, like you said, like, gets the job before Cam Newton. It makes no sense at all from a football standpoint. And what the hell has he done in the last few years to even still deserve a job in the NFL, even as a backup for any franchise? Absolutely nothing. Like you said, he had one good postseason. He's beat the Patriots twice in his career, and that's pretty much all he's done, and won his one Super Bowl. Like, and he even got lucky that postseason because he hasn't done a damn thing since then. And after he got his money and got paid after winning that Super Bowl with the Ravens, it's like he just threw in the towel. It was like, bet, like, I got my bread, I won a ring, I won a Super Bowl, I'm good, I can just sit back and chill now that I already got the bag. So for this guy to be signed to the New York Jets, it's a typical Jets move, because the New York Jets just sign anybody. Like, the standard and criteria for signing people is low. They also just signed Frank Gore as well, who's still a decent running back. He can still play, but the guy's old, man. He's like 37 years old. Like, damn. Like, are they gonna sign all the senior citizens in the NFL and sign all? Is their criteria? Oh, dudes that are 35 plus. Boom. That's who we want. That's exactly who we're going to target and sign and put on the roster. And we'll just give them 1 year minimum contract deals and have them on the roster and just have them as so-called leaders and locker room guys. Like the Jets are a joke, man. Like, I get they needed a backup, but they could have gotten someone better than Flacco. Like Flacco was the best you could get. Come on now. Let's be real. This man shouldn't be playing any football. Even the guy that's seeing Ghost Sam Darnold, as I like to call him, the Ghost Hunter. He's even better than Flacco, and Flacco doesn't even come close to taking his job. So I don't know why he's there. Honestly, like, I'd even have a rookie. I'd rather have a rookie that hasn't even played and hasn't, had any NFL experience as a backup than Joe Flacco. Like, what the hell is Joe Flacco gonna do for you?
Word.
like unbelievable. So yeah, John, I'll let you give your thoughts on Joe Flacco, but yeah, that's what I think about that signing. It's a waste of money and a waste of time for the New York Jets, and it's a typical Jets move. That's why they suck, and that's why they're a freaking joke and they're laughing stock of the NFL.
Yeah, I think you summed it up for all of us. I think the question is what is our thoughts on Joe Flacco joining the Jets? I don't have any thoughts. Like the guy's a joke. You know what I'm saying? So I think he went the Chris Johnson route, got his money, and then got fat and just unmotivated. And listen, as a regular guy, I'd probably I don't know if I'd be like that, but if I'm getting paid $65 million, wasn't that what he signed or something like that?
Yeah, right. And the first thing he did when he got his $65 million, got his bag, he went to McDonald's and got him a Happy Meal.
Hey, man.
Yeah.
You
went to McDonald's. First thing you do after you sign a big NFL contract, you go straight through the drive-thru to McDonald's and you go get you a Big Mac and a Happy Meal.
What a guy. You got to stay humble.
What a guy.
You got to stay humble.
I'm not gonna comment on him getting McDonald's. Look at me. I'm not gonna comment on that.
But still, come on. He's an NFL player and a professional athlete.
Yeah, but if I'm an NFL player and I got $65 million, I don't know what I would have done. So I'm not gonna comment on that. But Joe Flacco did get the money and then just didn't care anymore.
That's what I'm saying. Like he just, you got your money. Like I think a lot of guys within all the sports, they're just playing for that contract, man. Once you get that contract, dude, they're happy with that, I'm thinking about like guys like Larry Hughes, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't care about championships. Like, what the hell are you playing for, bro?
Exactly.
But I get it. You're playing for money, and a lot of the people they do all this stuff just to secure the bag, like Barry was saying. And when they secure the bag, like
they get comfortable.
They ain't trying to go to the Hall of Fame, dude. Everybody's not Tom Brady, man. You know what I'm saying? So. It is what it is, man. Good luck to him. I can say this though, he's a better backup than Luke Falk. Like that, I'm like, what the hell, dude? You remember they try to big up that guy before the Patriots game. Yeah, he knows the system. He knows Adam Gase's system. He knows all the keys. He knows all the reads. I'm like, if you don't shut the hell up, bro, like,
they trying to gas him up.
They tried to gas him up. That
thought he was nice that he could ball. Like what?
There was if you study him, you'll see he makes the really accurate passes and he knows the receiving core. I'm like, you're not doing anything, man. And
right.
The guy, what did he throw, like a million picks that game? I forget.
Something like that.
But all I can say is Joe Flacco's a better backup quarterback than they've had on the roster. Joe Flacco's in his Luke McCowney years. Just riding the roster. Like you said, the what is it? The roster guy, the locker room guy.
Yeah, right.
But dude, these guys are just securing the paycheck, dude. Like, listen, if I can ride,
get their bread before it's time to retire and leave the
and
league.
Be done. If I can collect paychecks, just riding the freaking bench, dude, I'll be a towel boy. Okay, like I don't care, dude. All right. If you're gonna pay me, over $1 million as a trash ass veteran backup, like you can't really lose. You'll go into the game maybe a couple series, but we don't know about Sam Darnold. He might catch mono again. I don't know who he was kissing last year, but he caught mono and I don't know what adults are getting mono, but listen,
honestly, I didn't even know that.
Knock on wood. I don't want to catch mono.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
I'll
you feel me? But man, just suck, dude. Let's just move on. There's this big thing going on right now with the NBA, which is what was the Last Dance documentary. Now, somebody that is compared to somebody in the NFL, Michael Jordan. Somebody in the NFL that is compared to Jordan sometimes is talking about, well, I guess a documentary is in the work, and the person I'm talking about is Tom Brady. He has a documentary in the works by ESPN. It's going to be called Man in the Arena, and that's going to be basically his Last Dance type of documentary, kind of like Jordan's, right? How you guys feel about that?
I don't know if it's gonna be his last documentary, Last Jordan, because he actually has 2 documentaries in the works. So he has one called The Men in the Arena that's gonna be done by ESPN.
Yep.
He has another one with LeBron James called
Greatness Code,
and Apple is working on that one.
Yep.
Code. And also Tom Brady has had multiple documentaries. He has the Brady 6, which came out 5-6 years ago.
Yep.
So it's gonna be interesting what they come up with. I don't know exactly what they're gonna show. As a Patriots fan, I've watched a lot of Brady documentaries and just a lot of things about Brady. And he also had the documentary on Facebook, Time versus Time.
Right, exactly. Yep.
So he's had he's had a multitude of documentaries. So I'm interested to see what the one by ESPN is about and what the one by Apple is about. I want to see if they go more behind the scene about what Brady is like, especially now that he's not the Patriots. He's gonna be more up to give out more information, because when he was the Patriots member, Belichick doesn't let you give out a lot of information. So maybe now that he's not with the Patriots anymore, maybe he shares more with the fans. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. But one thing I would definitely like to see, I would like to see a Last Dance documentary about Brady, about the last championship he had with the Patriots.
Yeah,
I think that would be interesting. And also, if they can cover his last year with the Patriots, which was last year, where the season wasn't good, they didn't win anything, they went to the playoff and they were one and done. And also, there was a lot of friction between Belichick and Brady and Kraft. So if there's a documentary about what happened those last couple of years between Brady, Belichick, and Kraft, I think that would be interesting. I'd definitely be ready to watch that.
Yeah, for sure. I'm pretty excited and looking forward to this documentary. I always love and enjoy good sports documentaries, especially when they're about one of the all-time greats and the GOAT and Tom Brady. I certainly enjoyed all his documentaries that he's come out with to this point, with the Brady Six and Tom versus Time. So I'm sure this one will definitely be another good one to see. I hope that they do cover all those things that Vlad said, as far as their last Super Bowl championship run a couple of years ago. Where they were saying that the Patriots were too old, they were too slow, they weren't good enough to win a Super Bowl, and their dynasty was done. I definitely would love to see that year, as well as last year, and when there was definitely some conflicts and tension in that organization between, and a big power struggle amongst the three top guys in that organization, Brady, Belichick, and Kraft. So I would certainly like to see that, as well as like the behind the scenes kind of like off the field life that he lives, as well as the training that he does as well when he trains with his receivers and his teammates during the off season. I always enjoy seeing those videos that he puts out of him training. So he'll certainly be another good one. I didn't even know that he was doing one with LeBron James. I definitely would like to see that as well. That's certainly another intriguing and fascinating documentary that I'm looking forward to, and will definitely be tuning in every episode that comes out. So it's good that we already have another sports documentary to look forward to coming up in the near future.
Yeah, for me, I'm indifferent about it. I've seen all the Tom Brady documentaries. I think a lot of them have shed a light on him as a player, a lot of things that he's been going through. But for the most part, I think the narrative is controlled by Tom Brady. He's not gonna put anything like crazy on there. You know what I'm saying? He's not gonna put anything on there that's too controversial. That's going to like paint him in a different light. I think you saw in the documentary with Michael Jordan, he faced some criticism, and you saw a lot of guys come out against him, like the Horace Grants, the other guys that were like, nah, that's not really how it happened. And then you hear things about, Pippen not being happy with how he was portrayed and things like that, so I don't think Brady's going to go that route. And I don't know if it's because he's with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now I'm like, it's kind of like snobbyish because you're still playing, you know what I'm saying? Like, what do you, like, documentaries are for people who's out of the game now. You want to like shed light on what happened, you know what I'm saying? And to me, it kind of like makes me think Tom Brady's really like working for his life after football. Like he's getting into all these things. He's doing all these projects, putting his name out there, getting his production. What is it, like the 99 Corporation or something like that?
Yeah, right,
the 199
productions, something like that.
Something like that he got going on because he was like the 199 picker, in the draft. So a lot of that stuff is just really telling me, Tom Brady's really looking out for his life after football. He's setting it up while he's still playing. He's getting that momentum going while he's still playing. I think it's clever, but I'd really like to see somebody do a documentary about him that isn't that he's not involved with. Somebody that's like not biased at all, that just wants to do like investigative real life stuff. I really want to see like the dirt. What really happened. I want to see the fights. The tears, all that stuff, man. I don't just want a documentary that tells me how great Brady is, how dedicated he is, because we know that already. We've seen some past documentaries, and I hope, like Barry was saying, that hey, he's a lot more transparent, or Barry or Vlad, when he was saying, that he's going to be a lot more transparent because he is with another organization. Because with the Patriots, you do have kind of like the gag order, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? You're not allowed to say certain things. Your personality, you're not really supposed to show it like that. And they draft a lot of guys that really don't show their personalities too much out there, but they do have personalities. Just they do it, a little more discreetly. So, I mean, I'm interested in it. I'm not going to say I'm not interested in it. I just like think about it twice a little bit sometimes because I feel like documentaries are for people who's gone through the game and, just a look back on what history was. Kind of like, I feel like, The Last Dance was more documentary-ish, even though I feel like it was skewed a little bit with Michael Jordan because he did have some creative input in that, and he controlled what was said and what wasn't. Kind of like how the Houston Rockets, they were left out of that because they won 2 championships while that whole thing was going on. So
while he was playing baseball,
yeah. So they skipped that whole thing. So I just want to see something that's real, something that's gonna give me the real timeline and all that. But more proud of Tom Brady, man. He's hooking up with one of the elites, LeBron James, and hey, he's gonna get the views. If anything, he's gonna get the views. So am I gonna watch it? Of course I'm gonna watch it. But that's just my thoughts on it. I'm still gonna watch it regardless, right? Other than that, in the NFL, I don't know if you guys want to say anything extra on the Tom Brady stuff. You good? Everybody good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. Good. Other than that, man, we got to talk about another quarterback in the NFL who I'm not sure if it's him, or if it's the Cowboys camps that keeps leaking a lot of information about the contract situation. I'm talking about Dak Prescott, with his contract offer. What was the numbers on that contract? Like 175 or something like that?
Yeah, it was like 5 years, 175.
Yeah.
Yep.
And, they're saying he's turning it down, and that he wants a shorter deal than the long one. I don't know what that means. But I don't know who gets a $175 million contract and doesn't sign it. Like, how you guys, how you guys feel? I feel like I'm a broken record. I keep asking you guys how you feel about that. But, like, what are your thoughts on that?
I think that he's I doubt that he got offered that. So I heard he got offered that, and I also heard that wasn't true.
Mm-hmm.
I feel as though if he was offered 5 years, 175 million, which is about 35 million per year, I think it was 130 guarantees or something like that. I don't understand why Dak wouldn't take that. What does he want? He wants 40 million a year. Is that what he wants? Like, what's going on? I like Dak. I think he's a good quarterback. I think every year he's been getting better. I think he can be very accurate. I do think he can work and be better and be more consistent. But I think he's a good quarterback. And 35 million is maybe a little bit more than what he's worth. Like, I feel as though he's worth between 30 and 35. But he's not worth more than 35 and up. So I feel as though whatever the contract that they're offering him, if it's between 30 and 35, he should take it.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm kind of feeling as if that I don't know what's going on with Dak Prescott's camp, because I feel like
you're a Dak hater.
No, I'm not a Dak hater. Don't say that. I feel like just his camp, his agents, or whoever is involved in his camp and in the contract negotiating process, excuse me, has gassed this man's head up, because I was just gonna say that contract he should have taken if it was offered. We're not 100% sure whether it was offered, since there's been conflicting reports on that particular negotiation. But I mean, if it was true, then it's like, bro, like, why would you not take that? Like, what are you doing here? Like, you really think you are gonna be able to get 40 mil or over 40 mil? Because I'm hearing also, I don't know whether it's true or not, that dude wants 40 to 45 mil a year on his contract. He wants a shorter term deal with 40 to 45 mil a year. So I mean, it's kind of like he's being, I don't know whether it's him or his camp that's being too greedy and asking for too much. But I'm definitely glad that they're if he gets a deal 30 to 35 mil, that's pretty much about where his value and how much he's worth at. And that would have been a really good deal if they did really offer him that 5 years of 175 mil. I don't know why you don't just sign on the dotted line and get your bag and keep it moving and get ready for the season coming up. I mean, I don't know why this man is asking for so much. Yeah, he's a good quarterback. He's talented, but he still really hasn't done anything yet to want to get paid like the highest paid quarterback. Because I think that's what he's going for. He wants to get paid like he's Pat Mahomes, or like he's an elite quarterback. And to me, he's not an elite top 5 quarterback just yet. Like,
that contract
still hasn't gotten to that point. He wants to be the highest paid in the league, and I'm sure that would have probably put him at the highest paid in the league.
Yeah.
But I was just gonna say, we know for sure that when Pat Mahomes' time comes to get his bag and to get paid, he's gonna get paid well more than that 175. He'll get at least 200 plus mil. So I was just gonna say, I get he's trying to set the market for the future quarterbacks coming up that are gonna be going into their second contract and getting paid. But I mean, it is just, to me, like, if that deal was offered, like, just sign it to get your money and this negotiation stuff and keep it moving and get back to focusing on football and being the Dallas Cowboys starting quarterback and winning a Super Bowl and a championship with this team, because they do have a talented team around him. They have surrounded him with they've given him more than enough talent and pieces around him to win on offense. So he just has to go out there and prove that he can be a top tier quarterback in this league and go out there and win football games and help this team win a Super Bowl. So yeah, we'll see what happens with these contract negotiations, but he certainly has to this deal has to get done soon so they can move on and get back to focusing on football and best for the team in games.
Yeah, facts. Hey man, I'm all for the players getting paid and stuff like that, but because I believe the contract being offered would make him the highest paid quarterback in the league. And I think it's only right, like, if you're the next guy up and if you're performing, that you should be compensated and bring the market forward, because that's a goal for all the players anyway. You want the next man to get the highest deal, because when your turn comes up, you want like the next highest deal. Mm-hmm. So that's how it works in the NFL, and I don't think it should change. But at the same time, if you're being offered the wealthiest contract all time, you should probably just get that. But at the same time, I think about there's this guy that is considered to be the greatest of all time that's laid out a blueprint for other quarterbacks, and it's like they kind of like ignore it, which I don't disagree with fully, because you're trying to get paid, right? That's why you're playing the game. A lot of them play because for the love of the game, but I could think majority of the football players play because they make a whole lot of money doing it, right? And there's a quarterback that's set an example of how to actually approach it in Tom Brady, where, listen, dude, if you're getting paid that much money, it's a detriment to your team. You know what I'm saying? Like, now your team is only able to sign an X amount of people instead of this amount of people. If you took like $20 million less, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're going to make the money regardless if you take care of yourself and you got your endorsements going. The guy, he got all sorts of endorsements going. So it's not like you need to be the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. I think a lot of the time it's an ego thing, and they're not really thinking about, like, dude, if I get paid that much money, which the Chiefs are going to find out pretty quick, because Patrick Mahomes might get like a $200 million contract.
At least,
and
right.
That's a big chunk out of the cap, So now your team is strapped to sign other people because you got one player out of the 53 main roster guys that's getting paid an X amount of dollars, and you're just left with, because there's this cap space. So, I don't know. It's a lot of money. I don't know what's going on with his camp. I feel like a lot of the situations are coming from the Cowboys camp, where they're just like putting out information to make themselves look better, because that's how a lot of these negotiations go. Kind of like the whole situation with Russell Wilson and the Seahawks. what was that, last year or a couple years ago before he
a couple
signed?
years ago, yeah.
So I think it's kind of like the same thing where, they put things out there to get in your minds, to get people like Barry to post a bunch of stuff on social media. You know what I'm saying? If you're following us on social media, you'll see a lot of the posts we've been posting about, everything that's going on with the players. And, we're taking some shots at guys, making fun of some guys, but it's all in good fun. But, I say good luck to him, man. And hopefully they get that done soon, because I feel like he does deserve to get paid. I don't know if he deserves to be the highest paid quarterback, because I really don't think so. But he is the next guy up, and he should get his dues. But I think he should just think about the team a little more when it comes to that, right? Mm-hmm. And that's really all I'm going to say about that. Outside of that, there's some more things going on in the NFL. We got some old guys playing some golf, with Tom Brady pairing with Phil Mickelson. And then Peyton Manning is paired with Tiger Woods as his partner, and they're doing this thing for charity where they're playing a golf game. And all the proceeds will be donated to charity for the coronavirus relief fund. So I think that's pretty cool. The game is actually today. So by the time you hear this, you've probably already seen it. Hope you enjoy it. We're actually here recording a podcast, so we'll be able to catch it later. But hopefully you're enjoying it, so just catch on to that. Other than that, before we leave the NFL, I just wanted Vlad to actually give us a update on last week's show, actually. What's happening with the Rooney Rules? Because I heard there's some changes with that.
Yeah, so last week when we recorded, we talked about the Rooney Rule and what our thoughts were on it and what the NFL were doing. So this week, the NFL met with the coaches and stuff, and they decided on adding a couple of rules to the Rooney Rule. So now, instead of interviewing one person, so team must interview at least two minority candidates to be a coach. At least one minority candidate to be a coordinator, and at least one external minority candidate for front office positions. Those are the three major rules they have added to. As we discussed last week, all of us felt as though the NFL was not meeting the bar when it comes to the Rooney Rule. So those additions that they're putting, we're not sure how effective those are going to be, but that's what they're going to be doing. So we'll see if that either makes it better or worse.
Yeah, man. Thanks for the update. So if you're following that, that's the update for the Rooney Rule. Hopefully it works, like Vlad is saying, man, but we don't know. We're going to shift on to actually the NBA, and we're going to talk about something we've touched up on a little bit during the show already, which is the Last Dance documentary. Last Sunday was the last episodes of the documentary, so it's now over. And, I just wanted to take some time to actually discuss it, because now we can actually give our real opinions on what we saw, how we felt about it, as well as some other things. Before we do that, you guys want to give, a little bit of thoughts on what you thought about the documentary overall?
I watched the whole thing, and I was a little bit underwhelmed by the documentary in its entirety. I was captivated. I watched all 10 episodes. The last 5 weeks have been really exciting, just because, as we all know, there's no sports. So every Sunday, that was something that I look forward to. We record the podcast earlier in the day, and then at night I'll be locked into the documentary. For me, I feel as though I learned a lot. There's a lot that I didn't, because I didn't get to watch 90s basketball. I learned a lot about 90s basketball. I learned a lot about the Bulls. I learned a lot about MJ, Pippen, Rodman, and also their supporting cast. But for me, I feel as though the documentary, if I was alive in the 90s and actually got to watch the Bulls, I don't know how much I learned. I don't know if I learned anything new. I learned anything new because I learned a lot of things because I wasn't there to watch it.
Right.
But somebody that was there in the 90s watching it, I don't know how much more the documentary showed us. You know what I mean? So I was expecting a lot more behind the scenes stuff. I feel as though they extended the series. They make it a 10-part. They made the document a 10-part series, and they showed like a bunch of stuff that happened earlier in Michael's career.
Yep.
And also the documentary is called The Last Dance. It was supposed to be focused on the last season, and I feel as though they focused a lot. I mean, they did a good job just bringing you up to the last season. I feel as though they didn't focus enough on that last season. And as we know, as we're going to be talking about, that there's a lot of players coming out saying that there's a lot of behind the scene incident that didn't make it to the documentary. And I guess I guess you can expect that because Michael Jordan had control over all the footage, so he decided what was going to go in, what wasn't going to go in. So it was going to be biased. I did enjoy it. I'm not saying I didn't enjoy it. I really enjoyed it because, like I said, Jordan we've all heard Jordan is a great player. I've watched Jordan tapes before, but I've never seen the documentary that goes into detail about his whole career. I learned a tremendous amount, and it definitely solidified MJ's career to me. But as somebody that's for somebody that didn't watch MJ. As for somebody that watched MJ, I don't know if the documentary exposed him enough or shared enough about him and his career.
That's fair. Barry.
Yeah, I certainly really liked this documentary a lot. It was probably was the best sports documentary that I've seen in my time watching sports. I thought it was well put together and well produced. They could have shown a little bit more as far as behind the scenes and whatnot, but we kind of knew and figured that they probably weren't, since like Vlad said, MJ had complete control of all the footage that was going to be produced and included in this documentary. I certainly did learn some things about MJ, even though I feel like most of the things that were posted in this documentary were pretty general and basic things that we kind of already knew about MJ, even as for me, not being able to, grow up watching him play in his prime and in the Bulls dynasty. We kind of already knew, the majority of things that were produced and put in this documentary. But it was still, pretty good. Nonetheless, I thought, I liked seeing all the different episodes and kind of, the different sides of, my Michael Jordan in his life. I certainly learned some new things about him as far as, his, life, off the court, with his family and, and his, upbringing and, how close he was to dad and, and why he, decided to leave the game and play baseball. So I learned about those things about him, as well as what drove him and why he was such a motivated and driven, player, and why he wanted to be great, and his mentality and how that became of, and his also win at all costs sort of mindset that he had. That was, certainly what, one of the biggest things that I've learned and taken away from his documentary, on how bad he wanted to win and how wanted to be one of the all-time greats, if not the greatest ever to play the game. He certainly had, those things that were instilled in him that made him far better than anyone else did during that era that they played in. And he played in an era with a lot of great players and a lot of guys that were Hall of Famers that weren't able to win, mainly because of him winning, all those 6 championships. So certainly that was, really fascinating, being able to see all of that, and also learn about the other guys as well. Like we learned about, the Scottie Pippins, about the Dennis Rodmans, about the Horace Grants, about the Steve Kerrs. So it's nice to, see that all those guys were important in that era, and their role on the team was just as valuable and helped, build the, Bulls dynasty into arguably the greatest, sports dynasty, that we've seen to this point. So I think that, I'm certainly going to miss watching the documentary. I, watched all 10 episodes and enjoyed them all. They were, really, fun to watch and very entertaining, and it really, it made, all of us tune in and gave us actually something to look forward to in terms of having, some sports content to watch. So there were some things that obviously were, controversial, and that, some certain guys didn't like and, think they should be on there. He certainly called, some guys out and was pretty ruthless to his teammates. I think that's one of the things that I've, kind of wasn't aware of, as far as how ruthless and how he treated his teammates, particularly, earlier in career and later in his career. He became much more appreciative of his teammates and knew that, he needed his, the guys around him to, do their jobs and play their roles on the team at a high level in order for them to be effective and and continue to keep winning ways. So that this was another thing that stuck out to me as far as documentary goes. But it was certainly one of the better ones that I've seen, and I thought they did a great job. The producer did a great job with this. As far as the whole production team that put it together, they certainly deserve a lot of credit for doing something like this. I thought that they were gonna focus in more on that last year, but they kind of went and did pretty much every part of his career, which was kind of nice to see, because then what were the things that happened that led to the situation about about the Bulls and why the dynasty ended. And also one last thing was I learned about like the Bulls management, about like the Jerry Krause and the Wilsdorf or whatever his name is. I didn't really know too much about those guys, but those guys were certainly played a part in this documentary, in this dynasty, and actually were a big part of the Bulls dynasty and putting those teams together. So I certainly got a lot of stuff from them, and got a lot of insight and info as far as how important they were to to the Bulls during this time, and why they decided to end the era when they did, and as well as Phil Jackson and his importance, and how he became the coach of the Bulls, and how he got them to being a great team, and and one of the main reasons of why this dynasty started. So yeah, it was a great documentary, and I'm certainly glad that I got to watch and enjoy every bit of what we saw in the last 5 weeks.
Yeah, for sure, man. That was a great documentary all around. We spoke about this before. The Last Dance was what, in 1998, right?
Yeah, 97,
so that was
98.
97, 98. I actually came in the country in 97. So I had no idea this was going on. I didn't know anything about. I knew about the Bulls, the Chicago Bulls, because I owned like things in Haiti. I owned like jerseys and stuff, and the logos and stuff. About the Chicago Bulls, but I didn't know too much about it, so I wasn't really paying too much attention. Like I was mentioning to you guys, like I didn't grow up watching Michael Jordan, so I really wanted to watch the documentary just in that standpoint, because I wanted to go back and see what really happened. Why is it everybody puts Jordan at that pedestal that he's on as the greatest of all time, and that's really what made me really want to watch it. So I definitely learned a lot. I actually what was this? I spent last Thursday. I watched the whole documentary the whole day. Again, I rewatched the whole documentary just because I wanted, because it was every Sunday, so it's like you had to wait to the next episode. So I wanted to see it like in its entirety in one day, just to like see how it flows into the next one. And it was a really well made documentary as far as like the things that were in it. We learned that a lot of things were not in it. Wish we could have seen those. But as far as what was in it, it was a really great documentary. I learned a lot about, like what Barry was saying, Scottie Pippen. I learned that Scottie Pippen was one hell of a player, man. Like he's the best second man, of all time. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I think so. As far as somebody that played on a team with one of the greats, I think he's one of the best teammates of all time. Dennis Rodman, and his personality. Just him explaining, from where he came from. He came from humble beginnings, and like he actually said, like he created that whole mantra, that that persona that everybody took him for. He created the monster, like he was saying in the documentary. And to me, Dennis Rodman was the GOAT back in the day, man. This dude went to the WWE, during the whole practice. Like, what the hell?
Right, during the middle of an NBA Finals series.
Right.
I know, that's crazy.
Right. We talk a lot about, the NBA now, and how stars are on different teams every other year and stuff like that, and how it wasn't like that back in the day. And I learned that was kind of like a lie, because a lot of really good guys were on the Bulls and they ended up on other teams, and had to face the Bulls. So I learned that the Bulls had a lot of really good players come through during that time Jordan was there. Some players that were capable of leading other teams on their own. So that was pretty cool. I learned a lot about what's the coach? What's his name? Phil Jackson.
Phil Jackson.
I learned a lot about him. I did not know. I thought he was always a coach before he he started with Michael Jordan. You know, I learned that where he came from. You know, that he was a hippie. That, you know, I learned why he got the name Zen Master through this documentary. I thought, which was really cool. Like, the guy, he's just like a laid back guy who loves basketball. You know, I learned how the whole triangle offense came about, and how Phil Jackson he didn't invent it. He just implemented with one of the greatest teams of all time. So, you know, I think a lot of sports fans who didn't watch, you know, back in the day, who were too young, they don't know how the triangle offense came to be, or even what it is really. You know, they just hear triangle offense. They don't know what goes into it. So I thought it was very fascinating to see that going on. Like Barry was saying again, management, just looking at how management was. You know, they had a manager that had really good vision as far as the players that he selected. You know, down to like Tony Kukoc, you know, going overseas, you know, courting him for years before he got onto the team, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, the team members, like, hating on him and going over there trying to bust his ass, and he actually ended up giving him some of the business too, you know. I thought that was very, very fascinating. I learned that Michael Jordan, you know, the reason why he's so revered worldwide is basically how he came into the league, you know, with the whole going into the Olympic Games, like his rookie year, you know, making his name heard, you know, worldwide, you know, at the time, you know, that was like a huge, I guess, like a forecast of like really good things that happened to him in a short amount of time. You know, I don't think anybody thought that Michael Jordan was going to come and change anybody's organization. Like, they thought he was a really good player, you know, but if everybody thought he was going to come in and change the whole organization, they would have selected him first, you know. I always thought that Sam Bowie got first pick for some reason, and then Michael went second, but I learned that he went third that year.
Yeah, they gave him the dream that was.
Yes, you know, I learned that because they had Clyde Drexler.
And that's why
so I learned that's why they didn't draft Jordan. That was pretty cool to see. I learned that, you know, Michael Jordan as a player was just like the first real professional basketball player out. And when I say that is by like the practices, the way he carried himself, you know, his dedication to the game, like holding his teammates accountable. Like, these are things like you heard from like Kobe Bryant, because he took the blueprint from Michael Jordan. These are things you hear from LeBron James. You know what I'm saying? Like, how they come in and they take care of their bodies, from Tom Brady even. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like he was, you know, a player that transcended time at the time, and he was like the first real NBA basketball player, like full package, you know what I'm saying? Like, in the weight room, on the court, practicing the craft. Like, it was important to him. Like, at the time, I feel like, you know, basketball was more important to Jordan than most of the other players in the league, right? He made it as if like it wasn't just a game. It was just like, if we're gonna play to win, right? There's no such thing as, you know, like, friendly. I also learned that he was a friendly guy. You know, he got along with a lot of the other stars in the league. You know, but at the same time, he wanted to bust their ass. You know what I'm saying? And I learned that's what separates him from, you know, most of the other athletes out there. And he kind of really reminded me of like a Russell Westbrook that I watch now. That in the game, like, dude, I'm not your freaking friend. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to bust your ass every single time. I learned he never took a game off. You know, and I love that mindset that, look, these people came to see Michael Jordan, and he knew that he was Michael Jordan. He wasn't just like a regular basketball player. He was like Michael Jordan that the people come to see, so he was going to turn it on at all times, you know. And, you know, the biggest thing I learned, you know, why I feel like a lot of people think he's, you know, the greatest of all time is just his will, man. Like, the guy, his will is unmatched. That's what I can say, you know, from what I saw, you know, from the sports athletes that I know now. Like, you don't see guys like, you know, slaving over their craft like he did. You know, you don't see them put so much of an emphasis on like, look, I'm not even gonna hang out. You see all the guys at the club now. You know what I'm saying? Like, you see all the guys at the after party on TikTok. Michael Jordan wouldn't be on TikTok. You know what I'm saying? If it was right now, I feel like he wouldn't be like that. You know.
That's true. But that's what you were saying. He couldn't really do those things because he was Michael Jordan. Right. Like, and he had to live a different kind of lifestyle as opposed to everyone else, because he couldn't be out in the public because it would just be too crazy and too chaotic if he was to go out somewhere in public, to the club or to the bar or something. Right. So and he had to live a different kind of life.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, he couldn't live those things, but he also knew that, and he accepted it. Like, you know, he said in the documentary, like, this life is not something, you know, to be all joyful about. Like, people don't, you know, it's not all glamorous. Like, I'm here stuck in a room, you know, pretty much all day. I can't go anywhere. You know, you get out the game, you got the press, you get to the locker room, the press is there. You leave, the fans are everywhere. Like he was basically a god at the time. You know, a lot of situations went right in the Michael Jordan era. As far as him building up his brand, you know, with the sneakers and how they didn't think it was gonna, you know, it was gonna do that well, and within a year he was outselling everything.
And it blew up just like that.
It just blew up with the Air Jordan. You know, I feel like it was just like a perfect storm of a lot of things that happened in that specific era. You know, and it was just great, man. It was just great. I'm glad I got to see it. I see that Michael Jordan is human at the same time too, because a lot of things bothered him in the media, like, you know, kind of like a Kevin Durant or Kyrie Irving. Like, dude, what are you guys talking about? Like, I don't have a gambling problem. Like, I like to gamble. Like, I have the money. You know, if I was, you know, not paying this or that and the third, I'd have a problem. But dude, I'm playing. You know, and I saw that as something he cared about his image. He cared about his image. I learned that he didn't want to be a social justice person at all. You know, with not endorsing the guy that was running for office, and the guy ended up losing to that racist opponent. And you know, I think he regrets that a little bit by not putting his neck out there. But at the same time, he said, "What do you say? The Republicans buy my sneakers too."
Oh yeah, right. I remember that quote. Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of crazy. So I see why he gets the backlash.
Surprising. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, that was kind of crazy.
Yeah, it was.
I see why he gets the backlash and stuff like that. But at the same time, man, you know, he was just like a brilliant basketball player, man. You know, that's all I can say about that. And you know, throughout the whole documentary, there's this whole comparison going on, you know, which we touched up a little bit last week with, you know, the LeBron versus Michael thing. And I know I've been arguing online about this stuff, you know, since the whole documentary started. So let's just go ahead and have our own discussion. You know what I'm saying? So I think the question is, like, has the documentary changed your mindset on the whole debate between LeBron James and Michael Jordan? Vlad?
So I've always thought that Michael was better than LeBron just because he won, just because of that amount of championships alone. Yep. I always thought that Michael was better than LeBron, but this documentary cemented it for me. Michael is definitely better than LeBron I'm not gonna say by far, but by a lot. The Michael came in and he won 2 3-peat. To be able to 3-peat twice is something nobody has ever done, and the willpower that it takes, the dedication that it takes to like will your team to 3 championships back to back twice. I just don't see LeBron ever doing that. I think LeBron is a great basketball player. He won 2 championships with the Miami Heat. Then his best championship came when he came back to Cleveland and won with Cleveland. And also this year, maybe the way the Lakers were doing, he could have won another championship with the Lakers, which would have put him really high. But I think what Michael did in his time, the players that he was facing, I'm gonna give. So Michael did play with 2 Hall of Famers, Scottie Pippen and Dennis Rodman. But I think Michael will everybody to a championship. You saw what happened when he took the year and a half absence. The team was good. The team played well, but they didn't. The push that they needed to win the championship just wasn't there because Michael wasn't there. And I think Michael's a different beast. Even Kobe Bryant, which was to me the closest beast to Michael Jordan, I still think Michael was just that much better. Like when Michael's on the court, there's this feeling that he's gonna win. He's gonna do whatever it takes to win, and you just haven't seen that in LeBron. So I think, to me, the documentary just made it clear that Michael is the greatest.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely hear what you're saying, Vlad. Certainly, I've always thought that Michael Jordan was the far better player than LeBron James. With all due respect to LeBron James, we all know that he's a great player and great at what he does and one of the best to ever play the game. But as we all know, there isn't any better or any greater player that has played this game to this point than Michael Jordan has. And definitely this documentary, I feel like, pretty much justified and validated that, and it kind of showed how great he was of a player and what made him great and what separated him from the rest of the pack, and he showed him how he was just fearless, man, how he had that killer instinct. He was a killer. He was had that clutch gene, that was never scared of taking the big shot and of the big moment. There was never a game or a moment that was too big for him, regardless of whether it was in the playoffs, in the first round, or in the finals. Like, he always rose to the occasion and stepped up when he needed to and made the big shot or the big play to help his team win. Like he always did what it took to win the game, and that win at all costs mentality was on a whole another level with him, and he's always had that mentality since day one. I feel like with LeBron, it took him a while to, you know what I'm saying, get that mentality and to do, you know, have that killer instinct and be that, you know, killer on the court that you know a great player like that needs to be. I feel like, you know, Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, guys like that had that since day number one. Like that from the jump, or the minute they came to the league, like you knew these guys were winners, and these guys were always gonna do whatever it took to win, and that these guys always came up in the biggest moments. There were some, you know, feel like in early LeBron's career, some instances and some moments that were a little bit too big for him, and that he, you know, came up, fell a little bit short. And yeah, I get that it took Michael Jordan a while to, you know, win his championships and to start, you know, building his dynasty. But I mean, you also got to look at the competition that he went against. He went against, you know, the Boston Celtics, who still had Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, and Robert Peirce, one of the, you know, greatest teams, you know, to play the game, and as well as, you know, Magic and the Showtime Lakers. Like they were another beast as well, and that was a hell of a squad, and they were loaded too. And then also the Bad Boys Pistons, who dominated Jordan for I think the first 3 times that they played. They won back-to-back championships in '89 and '90, and you know, would pretty much beat Jordan several times in the playoffs before Jordan can overcome him. So he had to go against some like all-time great, you know, teams, and, you know, some Hall of Famers that are considered at, you know, the greatest to ever play the game, in order to overcome them. So I think that made him a lot better, because that like drove him and made him more motivated to actually want to get over that hump and to, you know, be better than those guys and to do things that those guys didn't do, which was three-peat not once but twice. Like no one has still ever done that to this point. Like Kobe did it once, but he didn't do it twice, because, you know, he had lost to the Celtics in the finals in '08, but won the 2 years after. But it still doesn't compare to what MJ did in his greatness. So I think that yeah, LeBron may be the, you know, best, probably like all around player, but still like nobody is greater and better than than Michael Jordan. And we saw why that is in this documentary, and it really showed you know, why he's considered to be the GOAT, because he always played at a high level, and he always, you know, made his teammates better, and he always you know, made the plays, and would always win when it mattered the most. So that's how I feel about that Michael Jordan versus LeBron.
Nice, man. Thank you guys for your thoughts. Appreciate that. Yeah, definitely. For me, my thoughts around the whole LeBron and Michael Jordan thing has not changed. I still think LeBron James is the best basketball player of all time.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, no, I do think he's the best basketball player of all time. You know, like I said, man. You know, like I said, man. Yeah, I'll let you guys win. You know, it's my turn. You know,
okay, go ahead. Do your thing.
I sat down quietly. You know, I listened. You know, I just think he's the best basketball player all around. You know, I heard you guys say that it took him, you know, a while to start winning. You know what I'm saying? Well, I mean, it took Jordan a while to start winning too. You know, as a matter of fact, I think they won their first championship around the same year. Like, what was that? Like year 6 or something like that? I forget the year. But
it was either 7, 8.
Yeah, it was around the same time. Around the same time in the career that they both won championships. You know, LeBron James came into a trash ass Cleveland team, you know, who didn't have any players on it, and took them to a championship by himself. You know, I'm just looking at all around, like, you know, one thing I disagree with is, like, things can change, you know. Like, I know, you know, for a long time, Joe Montana was, like, the greatest of all time, and everybody was reluctant to, like, change that, you know. Then Tom Brady came and did some crazy stuff, and some people still think Joe Montana is the greatest of all time because he went 4 straight, and, you know, Tom Brady, you know, he lost 2 or whatever, how many he lost. But, like, I have a hard time, like, because I hear the Jordan and LeBron debate all the time. I have a hard time understanding, like, why, like, their reasoning. Every time, all I hear is 6 rings, 6 rings, 6 rings. If that makes you the greatest of all time, there's people with more rings. So it's like, I need something more. You know what I'm saying? Like, all I know is from the time LeBron James came from high school, he was a force, right? Until now, like, he's one of the biggest, fastest. Like, Magic Johnson said it. LeBron James is the best all-around basketball player that probably ever played the game. You just said that. So I don't know, like, if you're the best all-around basketball player, like, I don't understand what the difference is between the best of all time and the best all-around basketball player. Like, you guys get what I'm trying to say here? So, like, it's like you're trying to give him his props, but not give him his props. You know, Doc Rivers came out and says he's probably the best athlete that's ever played the game. So it's like, I don't know, man. I think it's a whole package. It's the all-around stats go in for me, too. It's not just about the rings. You know, it's about your effect on the organization. I feel like, you know, LeBron has been the biggest star since he's came in the league, you know, from the age of, 17? He was on that magazine or whatever. Mm-hmm. You know, the most popular high school basketball player ever. And he came through and lived up to the expectation, right? He was like anointed like the next king, LeBron James the king, right? And he checked all the boxes. You know, Michael Jordan got to go to 6 championships, and he three-peated twice, right? And I think that's really cool. But at the same time, it's like LeBron James went to 9 championships. He could have gotten 9 championships. You know what I'm saying? But like Michael, LeBron can't do it by himself. You know, and I feel like people don't give him credit for actually taking his team. He never went to the Eastern Conference Finals and like got, you know, taken out. He always went to the finals. He lost there, but it's like you're also going against the best team in the other conference that has, you know, like the Spurs, Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili. Yeah. It's like these are like teams. You know what I'm saying? Like the Bulls, they actually came together. They built that over time with chemistry. You know what I'm saying? Like LeBron James has to come in and everything's like broken, and then he has to put it together. You know, other than Miami, you know, which they lost that first year, and I think they lost because of chemistry.
I was pretty bad.
I felt like they lost because of chemistry issues because, you know, they were three stars trying to figure out how to play with each other. Who's going to take the last shot? Who's going to step on whose toes? I think that was, you know, a fine line to walk, and then they figured it out. And LeBron James became the leader once Wade was like, "You're the best player on this team."
Right. Once
you know,
Wade deferred to LeBron and was like, "Yeah, you're the best
guy
so, in the league. Like you it's your team, bro." Like
they started winning. You know, I can't argue that Michael Jordan had the best will to win out of any basketball player that's ever lived, and that's kind of like close to Kobe Bryant. They're just like that competitive, and he said it. He has a competitive problem. You know, some of us, you know, I can be really good at this and still not win all the time because somebody is there like going, you know, 100 miles an hour at all times. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that makes sense, but for me, what I've seen, you know, what I've lived through is like 9 championships straight, and every team this guy's gone to has gone to the playoffs. You know, if he's not injured, the team's gonna go into the playoffs, and when he leaves, the team sells tickets for $2. Ticket prices plummet down to $2.
$2.
You know what I'm saying? That's one guy. You know, and if you're gonna compare that, when Michael left, the team was still winning. You know, it was just they didn't get over the hump because they needed that added piece. When he was there, everybody was in their role and knew exactly what to do. You know, kind of like Pippen wasn't in the games for like 35 games in the 98 season, and they were struggling, right? Because there was a lot of stuff that Pippen does that nobody else was able to do on the court, and they were struggling. Even though Michael was scoring 30 plus a night, it was still like it's not enough. And I feel like that's kind of like what LeBron James' career has been in the whole kind of time, you know. The whole time. And there's definitely times where he's willed his team to wins. You know, kind of like when he went back to the finals the last time against the Celtics. It's like that guy was by himself. You know, even though they were playing against the Celtics, who's a younger team. He still like willed that team back into the finals that year. You know, I think that's a debate that's going to go on for a long time. Right? I don't think it's going to change the majority of the minds of people, you know, because it's already been said Michael Jordan is the greatest of all time, you know, and that's cemented in people's brain, and it's hard for people to change a lot of times. I'm not saying for people to change, but in my opinion, LeBron James is the best basketball player I've ever seen, you know, and that's where I'm at with that, you know.
I definitely disagree with you, but just I know that we don't have a lot of time, so I don't want to go too much into it. But the only thing I want to say that there's been a lot of really great quarterback that's coming into the league, and some people will tell you Peyton Manning is the best quarterback they've seen because of how he controls the offense, blah 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 blah. Like, and I think there's a difference between skills and there's a difference between being the best player that you can be. And I think that LeBron James is very skilled and he's very athletic, but the guy that can win you any game at any time is Jordan, and I don't think LeBron can do it. But like I said, I don't want to start a new discussion. Maybe we can do a special episode dedicated to that.
Right. I don't think you can compare LeBron to Peyton though. Peyton went to like 2 Super Bowls, and
no, I mean I'm not saying that.
I seen that meme. You were like Peyton, man. I'm like Peyton went to like 2 Super Bowls, dude. That's all he did in his career.
I'm not comparing Peyton and LeBron. I'm comparing skills versus.
No, I got what you're saying.
Best player.
Yeah, I got what you're saying.
That's what I'm comparing.
Yeah, no, but I think, like you said, that's definitely a great conversation to have. I think I'm going to be outnumbered the majority of the time, but still, I feel like the fact that I have like reasons I can say, to tell you why LeBron's the best basketball player of all time says something about him. If anything, you got to admit that. It's like, all right, you got some stats you can throw out there to actually, support your claims, and I don't think you can do that with any other basketball player. So, I think it's a conversation that's going to go on for a long time, and, we're going to enjoy it for a long time. So, I'm just glad the whole documentary happened. I'm glad, Michael Jordan played the game. I'm glad LeBron's here playing the game, man. He's pushing it forward. We just gotta appreciate greatness, no matter, if we're not big fans or not. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not a LeBron fan. I can tell you that. I'm a Celtics guy. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I recognize, like, you got to give people like Kobe Bryant, like, he busts our ass every time he comes here. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
When LeBron pulls up to the Garden, he's busting ass.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no way around that. Wherever these guys are going, they're going to bust somebody up. So, it's all for the love of the game, man. But let's move on. Well, we're not going to move on because we're still talking about the NBA. The NBA is talking about coming back. And Barry, I know you know all about that. Tell us about that.
So, yeah, they're looking to come back. Their comeback date is
July 15th.
Yeah, around July 15th.
Yep.
They want to start practices to resume around the 21st of June. And they're looking at having Disney in Orlando as the possible start of having destination of the season, of the rest of the season, playing over there. That has been exploratory talks of playing, at Disney, which the NBA did confirm yesterday, saying that those talks have begun and they are continuing as we speak here. So I know they were initially saying that it was either Disney or Vegas as possible destinations, but they're leaning towards having it at Disney, so they would have all the teams play over there in their facilities, and that's where the season would take place. So I hope that that they can do that and figure out a way to make that happen and make it possible. It'd be great to see the NBA back. I'm sure all of us want to see the NBA, basketball back on the court at some capacity, regardless of where the location and destination is. So hopefully they can be able to come to terms on a deal to have it played in Disney or wherever they decide to have the rest of the season take place.
Nice. So July 15th, NBA is coming back. June 21st, practices resume. That's next month. So that's coming back pretty soon, and I'm excited because, hey, real sports are coming back. Other than soccer, which has been back. I'm just excited to see some American sports, some major American sports, get started again. More on the NBA. Paul Peirce. I feel like every summer this guy says some crazy. Not every summer. Every off season this guy says it's not even the off season. That's the funny thing. Because right now there would still be games, right? There'd still be playoffs, right?
But it feels like they're ready for the finals.
It feels like the off season. So what I was gonna say is like maybe I should say every year Paul Peirce comes out and says some crazy stuff, right? And makes some crazy predictions, and the whole NBA talks about it, and then memes are made and all that stuff. So he came out with a top 5 players of all time for him, which it's his opinion. Like we were saying, we all just gave our opinions on who we thought was the greatest. So to Paul Peirce, his top 5 players of all time is Michael Jordan, number 1, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, number 2, Bill Russell, number 3, Magic Johnson, number 4, and Kobe Bryant, number 5. And why that is a big deal is because everybody was outraged because he didn't have LeBron James on his top 5 all time. Did you guys see it, and how did you feel about that?
I mean, I didn't see it. I just heard about it. It was all over Twitter and all over the internet. I think Paul Pierce definitely has something against LeBron because he competed against LeBron for so long, and I think there was a time where not Paul Pierce itself, but the Celtics owned LeBron because LeBron couldn't get to the Celtics.
He couldn't get through.
And then he moved to Florida to play with the Heat, and even that first and that first year, there's a switch that clicked into LeBron. Game six, LeBron powered over the Celtics, and that's how LeBron that's how LeBron got him LeBron. I feel. I think Paul Pierce, because of his relationship with LeBron, he doesn't want to put him there. But I think eventually he will put him there. I think LeBron deserves to be on anybody's top 5 list. I think he's such a great all-around player. The one of the players that people usually compare LeBron to is Magic Johnson.
Magic Johnson.
And I think he's better than Magic Johnson. So
Facts.
If anything, he should be in Magic Johnson's place on that list.
Okay. Yeah. How'd you feel about that?
Yeah, I wasn't really surprised about it. I feel like it was certainly a biased opinion due to the animosity and the beef and the hatred that Paul Pierce has towards LeBron, because we know that goes a long way, and definitely had some pretty hard feelings towards LeBron, and and really doesn't really consider him as great as most of us do. So I wasn't really too surprised when I heard about it, and I also watched the video of him actually say that and make his point and argument as far as why he didn't think he was when he was talking with Jay Williams and Jalen Rose on ESPN NBA Countdown. So they he's pretty much entitled to his own opinion, and I think that he certainly is he certainly doesn't want to put him there, just because he played in the same era, and I remember hearing him say that he feels that if he was the same age as LeBron, if they were both like going into their primes at the same time, he doesn't think that LeBron would have 3 championships and would win as much as he has in his career. So I feel as if that's a big reason why he didn't have him in his top 5. But I certainly think that that's kind of absurd. That is, I get you hate the guy, but you gotta admit, like, I'm not a LeBron fan too. I'm a Celtics fan, as you see by the hat. But I mean, there's no question and no dispute or debate at this point that LeBron's not a top 5 player. Like, he's most certainly more than deserving of being in anybody's top 5, regardless of how you feel about the guy. And believe me, I'm not a LeBron fan, and have as far as why I'm not really fond of the guy, but I've always respected his talent and his game, and and how he plays the game, and how great of a player he is and has become throughout his career. So he's definitely better than at least a couple of those guys on his list. Like, definitely he's better than Magic, and he's better than at least one other person. Definitely should be on just about anybody's top 5 list. So I get Paul Pierce is still in his feelings and feeling some kind of way about how he didn't win as much due to LeBron playing while he was. But we all know that LeBron James is one of the greatest players in NBA history, and I'd even say this: he's definitely on the Mount Rushmore of the NBA. That is without question a fact, and certainly certainly what it is that he's on the top tier and the top pedestal of the players that have played this game.
Yeah, facts, man. I think Paul Pierce has become kind of like a troll, over the last couple of years with his commentating and some of the stuff he said. He thought the Celtics were just gonna sweep the Bucks a couple of years ago. Like, he just says outrageous things, man. And I think he's becoming like the Max Kellerman of like the pro athletes that have become commentators, man. But I agree with both of you guys. The guy, come on, man. everybody knows. Every sports fan knows. LeBron's top 5, regardless of how you feel about him. Like Barry was saying, man, you just got to put him up there. Some people might not want to. He came in the league and he was better than Peirce from day one. We can't, maybe like not the first year, where, Peirce was already a veteran, but after that, man, the guy was a superstar in the league, way more hyped than Peirce was ever in his career. He came up with the Greek Freak thing. I mean, the Milwaukee thing a couple years ago, and then a few months ago he said he was better than Dwayne Wade, and he had a better career than Dwayne Wade and all that stuff, man. I just think he believes in himself, and you can't be mad at that. But definitely, I disagreed with Paul Peirce. But let's move on.
All due respect to Paul Peirce.
Yeah, we love the
Paul
truth.
Peirce, the truth. That's our guy. So he definitely deserves a lot of respect, but for sure. And he was a great player himself. But yeah, he's just being delusional about that.
Right. Let's move on. Final thing with the NBA, actually, the Nets are throwing out rumors out there on the rumor mill. They're talking about possibly acquiring Bradley Beal, to make a big three in New Jersey, or that's not New Jersey, Brooklyn.
Right.
It should be New Jersey.
Right.
I do like Brooklyn though. But yeah, so they're trying to acquire him, and I don't know if that's gonna happen, but that's kind of like, if we're going to talk down on people like LeBron, it's like we got to talk about these other guys that keep trying to go on, teams that are already established too, especially with Kevin Durant and stuff, and going to a 73 game, winning team and stuff like that. So we'll see what happens to that. Right now, it's just a rumor. I don't think that's going to happen because there's no way Washington is going to let go of Bradley Beal that easily. So good luck to them. I think that's a rumor. You guys have any thoughts on that? I thought that was funny.
Nah, I mean, I just think that if Bill goes to the Nets, that's a problem for the Celtics.
For the Celtics, for sure.
I'm a big Celtics fan, and I feel as though we need to catch on this opportunity that we have, that LeBron left, he went to the West, and I want us to be on top of the East. And if Bradley Beal goes to the Nets, I think that's going to be a three-headed monster. Bradley Beal is an underrated player. A lot of people don't really think about him as a great player, but I think he's underrated, and I think if he joins the Nets, he's going to be raining buckets. You got him, you got KD. KD and him are going to be raining buckets, and as long as Kyrie doesn't cause trouble and be a big head.
No, he's gonna hog the ball for 22 seconds and then try to pass.
I think the Nets will.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to say that, it's hard to really say as far as whether that, what will happen. I think, if it does happen, that'd be a pretty scary team. But I don't think all those guys, the three guys, would be able to play together because they're, in Kyrie, Bradley Beal, and KD, because they're all ball dominant guys and need the ball in their hands in order to be effective at a high level. So I'm not sure whether that would work out, but they were somehow able to make that work out. They'd certainly the team to be in the East, past the Celtics and past the Bucks, and would be a force to be reckoned with. That would be an awfully scary and dangerous team for anybody to go against and to have to try to beat in a 7-game series in the playoffs. So we'll see what happens and whether they give up. Washington would give them up. I don't think they would.
Yeah, man. Moving on, because we're actually coming to the end of the show. We have the email of the week. So like we've been saying, anybody that wants to actually send us an email can send us an email at profansports1@gmail.com, and we'll try to answer questions for you during the show. And this email of the week came from Miss Fletcher. She asked, you all did a recent podcast debating how many games the New England Patriots would win this year without Brady. What do the Pro Fans podcast think about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Brady this year? How many games do y'all expect them to win?
I want to thank Ms. Fletcher, like you said, for the email. And I just want to reiterate what John said. Please send us any email that you have. We'll discuss it. We'll choose at least 1 or 2 emails to discuss on the show. Give us more content, and it's a way for us to interact with you, the fans. I went through the schedules of the Buccaneers, and I went through every single game, and I tried to analyze which one I think the Bucs will be able to win and which one they will lose. And there's some really good games on there because, Brady versus Breeze twice a year. You got Brady versus Matt Ryan twice a year. And they're also playing Kansas City. They're also playing the Packers. And those are like really good games. So Brady is going to be on a lot of primetime game this year. So when I went through the schedule, I have the Bucks losing to Kansas City. I have them losing to the Saints when the Saints are at home, and I also have them losing to the Falcons when the Falcons are at home. So right now, as of right now, I have the Bucks going 13-3.
Ooh, I would say when I went through the schedule last night, I was thinking they'll probably be somewhere around the range of 11-5, 12-4. I think that's certainly, they're really good team. They're, really talented on both sides of the ball, and I think they, have they are playing some pretty tough competition, but they're certainly, have the team to be able to win those tough games if they can execute and play well at a high level. And get on page at the same time, from a chemistry standpoint. And if they do that, I believe they'll be, either 11-5 and 12-4 and win their division this season South.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna agree with everything Barry just said. Just looking at their schedule too. I know they have Tom Brady, but like even Tom Brady, he doesn't change everything about everything. They're still the Buccaneers. They got some tough games. Brady's, he's on a decline. No matter what you want to say, he is. He has a new receiving, new everything to get used to. So there's a lot of things that has to go on right for them to do a lot. So I have them around 11-5 and 12-4 myself. I'm leaning more towards 11-5, if anything. But like Vlad was saying, thank you, Ms. Fletcher, for sending us this email. And, Barry, myself, and Vlad will be waiting for questions every week, and that's an email of the week. Moving on, though, we're going to do the last thing on this show, which we started doing a couple weeks ago, is the B-Money Lifestyle Person of the Week, brought to you by B-Money himself. Barry, what's up?
Hi, yes. So the B-Money Lifestyle Person of the Week is a guy who is a local guy and plays for the New England Patriots. He's defensive tackle Lawrence Guy. He and his wife donated 1,300 meals to Worcester kids family this past Thursday. Due to the pandemic that we are going, and they were able to give back, and they had a like food truck which they were able to donate these meals for these children and families who are in need of food and groceries. So I thought that was a really cool and awesome way of giving back and supporting the community that that they needed to give them those foods and a really good gesture by him. That stood out to me this week, and I feel like he is more than deserving for me to nominate the B-Money Lifestyle Person of the Week. So big shout outs to Lawrence Guy and his wife for doing that.
Facts, man. Lawrence Guy, real nice guy on the Patriots D-line. If you guys don't know, and donating to Worcester is huge, because Worcester is an impoverished area, where there's a lot of, poor kids, and they need as much help as they can. So shout outs to him, man, and thank you for the B-Money Lifestyle of the Week.
Of course, absolutely.
Yeah, well,
I know for sure.
Right, if you guys don't know what it is about yet, it's people doing great things out there, doing big things in the community or for themselves and making life better for other people. Right, that's who's gonna get it, man. So if you're out there, even local people, we'll give it to the guy next door if he's doing some big things. You know what I'm saying? So,
right,
hey,
exactly.
Just be on your good stuff, man. So other than that, I just wanted to make sure we talk about the holiday that's coming up.
Mm-hmm.
What is that? Memorial Day.
Yes, sir.
And that's for the veterans. So just thank you to them. Thank you for your service, and anybody that's in the armed services, man. We appreciate your work. We don't like wars, but we support the troops. You know what I'm saying? So just salute to them. And when you're on the beach or you're in the backyard barbecuing, just remember those guys. That's what the holiday is really about. It's about them. Other than that, it's the end of the show. Just don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube. Our new goal is 150. Let's get that up. Let's follow us on social media. Instagram, profans_sports. Everywhere else, it's profan sports. Come find us. Come hang out with us, man. And thank you. This is going to be our 10th episode, man. Congratulations, fellas.
Yes. Congrats on the double digits. And send us those emails, guys.
You already know.
Profansports
One
at gmail.com. Hit us up. Send us an email, and we'll do our best to get your email on the show and answer your questions that you have for us.
Let's get it, man. Have a good weekend, fellas. Have a good long weekend. Everybody be safe.
Yes. Be safe, guys. Happy Memorial Day. Enjoy your weekend.
Peace out. Thank you for watching this video. If you like Pro Fan Sports Podcast videos, please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps us out greatly.
New episode will be dropping every Wednesday morning. Clips will be dropping every Wednesday afternoon. Click on the bell button for notifications on all our new videos. Thank you.